I'll have a comment from Facebook that the words that come up are relationality and permeability. This was
nice.
to the sharing. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. If there was a philosophy in this group for the mentorship this past year, we did have a talk about the medicine wheel and how we're a living, breathing medicine wheel as individuals. You know, we have an emotional side, a physical side, a spiritual side, and a mental side. And being in that center of our own wheel, we have to learn those 4 aspects of ourselves. So they can actually, the medicine wheel can actually be also implemented in the making of an art. How is the art looking physically? Well, it's manifested into a piece of work. And how is it emotionally? How is it making you feel emotionally when you look at that work? You know, spiritually, what comes to you? Wow, you know, I look at that work and I'm going, wow, I made that. So, you know, there's all this connection. Mental, oh, well, the process was, oh, I had to learn this and I had to learn that. So there's all this connection to our own wheel, our own circle, to, you know, keep that balance within ourselves. So that was part of the philosophy I was hoping that they would grab onto. I think they have. And that was part of the philosophy of making and creating a piece of work, is thinking about those 4 characteristics when we do and create a piece of art.
The title of this one is Carry the Drum, and it's 4 Walks with Animals, Who is My Daughter? Because that part of being a woman is having your voice heard. And there's often in our current landscape of the time we live in, we're not always welcome in a lot of public spaces. But if you have things to offer, you know, you can have a voice. And so I'm trying to set up this next generation, being my girl, with having her feeling like she has her voice. And so these are her drum bags where she's connected. These are 2 halves of them. And yeah, the circle feels whole. And it's so therapeutic to work in a circle. There's been a lot of growth, and it's like, okay, well, where do I go? How do we connect? What is it that we really want to say? How is it that as women that we're going to propel ourselves forward and support the next and share and hold each other up? I think that some of the things that we idealistically value as women, it has permanence, it has succession planning, and it's good for everybody in all walks all the time. So some of it was about problem solving and listening to the material and where it goes. It's never how you originally think it's going to be. And then it turns into something and you're still like, oh, that worked. That's great. And I wanted it to be tactile, where I like touching things. I know you're not supposed to in our gallery, but I want it to have that feeling where they're like, I want to touch this, right? So that, and that's part of the fringe too. And being proud from the wall is on purpose, so that, because I just wanted something that was more 3D. As it's more engaging, it can act as a being, as a different kind of energy with it. It sits out at a 45. There's 2 panels to each, and they're broken into quadrants. So there's it's elk footprints, ungulate footprints on the bottom, and then birds of prey talon marks. Those ones in particular are short-eared owl. There's dragonflies, which are only connected to the top piece, which are frog prints, which they're an indicator of balance keeping. And if we have to give voice to make sure that everybody is taken care of, including our Mother Earth, and these things are all indicators of where we are and how successful we are. So to me, it ties in with the drum bag, because that's giving you a voice to speak on these pieces. And these are the indicators of these pieces. I had a lot of fun doing these. A lot of the learning through the mentorship was just belonging, being part of the group, just really feeling accepted and part of it all. And that's what I wanted to convey with these pillars, so to speak, that help support us.
Yeah. So another element of the weight we carry as mothers is the traditional landscape of my family. This is my non-Indigenous family, but my great-grandma had started this cabin, and this rock in the back is where she had a flower garden where I would see her most of the time. And on the property, there was 2 cabins. The one cabin got sold, so this rock is on the other people's cabin, and so it's very painful, this deterioration of this place where I spent my childhood, that used to be brightly covered with all kinds of flowers, using beads colors to represent those flowers. And I think about how do I continue to protect that land space for my daughter, future generations. And a lot of my work comes from parts of my heart that still need to be healed. So a lot of times my cabin is in my work. I originally was thinking about weight of the beads. I used to live in Hong Kong, and I would bring back big bags of beads for my sister to do her work. And just the sheer weight in my suitcase. And I would think about like all that weight dancers are wearing when they're dancing, and the jingle dress is a healing dance. And so originally I had thought I wanted to have like a regalia hanging from like a luggage scale. But then working and talking with the group, I kept kind of deconstructing that original idea. And initially Fran gave me this birch bark. My sister's medium is birch bark, but it was not the right consistency she works with. And Fran had made a suggestion, why don't I make jingles out of that? So then if you can see on the bottom of the ribbon, there's tiny little stones added, showing like that kind of hidden weight underneath that we don't always see, hanging with the jingles as you dance. And as well on the bottom is the fabric that I would have used to create a dress, but I thought that fabric on the floor with that weight of a stone nestled on top. And all of the larger ones are stones that I had harvested with Fran. She took me on a drive. We live further north, a bit closer together, so we were able to meet in person more often. So she took me for a drive, and that's where I collected the other stones. So Fran is like very much wrapped up in the project with the other ladies. Yes, and this is a moss bag. So when my baby was born, I was wanting to make one with Dene florals from my family pattern, and I had all the materials sorted, but I never actually got around to making it. However, I had donated beadwork to an organization called the Moss Bag Project, and they made a moss bag, and my mom bought it back from them. So my baby did end up being raised in a moss bag, and the moss bag is important to me as often I don't feel like I come from very traditional elements, but I always remember my dad speaking about how the mothers would carry the baby in here. So it felt important for me to have one when my baby was born, and I made this one for the project, the paper being a fragile material to use, whereas the moss bag is usually that exterior, that wrapping and folding for the baby, but this one, the exterior is quite fragile with that weight inside, that weight that is kind of precious, carrying it forward. And the beadwork, it is complete, but the viewer only gets to see the threads on the back side, as it is a family pattern.
I can speak briefly about them, just in conversing with Annie. First of all, a couple things to understand about Annie is that she's very grounded and very spiritual, and Dudum is about your clan and your family connections, and she has her family, her extended family, her spirit family, her ceremony family. So she does all of these pieces, and it's really about all of the clans and people coming together, and she is representing that through this continuum, unbroken piece of wire, showing that we're all connected. And I think how she processes and what she thinks is very deep. I can't say a lot more about it because I don't want to change the context of where she's coming from, but just in the context of who she is and how she creates it's from a quite inclusive, beautiful place, and you can see that relatable in here. It's one continuous piece of wire. That's also part of how she was creating, is to show context of continuum and connection, is that it is a continuous linear piece of wire, how she created this. So
the way I kind of did it was I wanted to use that same outwardness and kind of have that 3D kind of feel to almost give it the sense that it's coming to hug you or console you or just be a part of you, because I think that's what nature really kind of wants, and I think that's what we all need too. So I think that's just kind of where a lot of them kind of end up turning into one another. I kind of wanted to have them represent the north, west, south, and east, kind of bring in that global connectivity and have us all be brought together. But I feel they're all a good mix of one another, so it's kind of this I feel it's also really kind of a representation too of our group, and everybody kind of has their own little different things, and we all kind of still come together in this little thing. So all the 4 amazing people I work with, and it's been such a wild experience, and I'm so grateful for everything everyone has taught, and as well as kind of everything I've learned from Lita and kind of her wisdom, and it's been a wonderful experience.
So I'm hoping with this group, maybe in the future, we can get our acts together again, do this again. Since the beginning of my career, I can't believe the explosion of women's work. And also thanking Mawa for giving me this opportunity to see other women's works. So, I can't express how much this mentorship has been for myself and for all of us. So it's just mind-boggling.